Where?
And then we just walked in.
That's very cool. Broadersfield. Oh crap.
I hope it comes back on before it gives a speech.
I'm going to hook it up in your room. Did you get the email about it?
Yeah. I think I put a star next to it.
Just in case there's something I'm doing here.
Yeah?
No, no, it's not.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our graduation. I'm speaking for the whole class of 2024 when I say it's so beautiful to see all of our families and everyone in front of us. While preparing for the speech to welcome you here today, I talked to Tim Wood, our school's archivist. In 9th grade, I took a J-term class where we got to dig through the archives, and ever since then, I've loved learning of the little historical facts about our school. When I told Tim that I would be giving the welcome speech for graduation, he pointed out to me that if I were giving this speech 100 years ago, our campus would look a lot different. Picture this. Commons would be a parking lot, the Carey building behind us wouldn't be there, Sharpless wouldn't be here, the front half of Maine wouldn't be there, and there would be no problem with the front steps. Probably all of the trees that I love so much would be half the height, and people wouldn't have any cross-campus walks from Loeb to 5317. And it would only cost 2 cents for a drink from the open door. Sometimes when I'm sitting in the library, I think how many other people have sat in this chair, hunched over the table, and trying to finish their English assignment before the end of the period. Everybody around them would be working the same way that people are working around me today, but they would just be different people at different times. As our campus grows and becomes ours, students 100 years ago still came to our school, took math, science, art, English, and did similar work to what we do today. As GFS students follow the steady routine of school, everything in our environment has evolved around us. I haven't really introduced myself, but I'm Jasper, and I've been going to GFS since I was in kindergarten. For the past few months, I've appreciated the routines of school. Every day for the last 13 years, my mom, my brother, and I have attempted to leave our house at around 7:30, but most of the time we're a few minutes late. We pick up the people we carpool with, search for a parking spot, and get here around 8. Once I'm at school, I take my backpack on and put it on the ground at least 10 times a day. I open at least 12 doors, I catch up with at least 5 people I haven't talked to for a while, and have at least 3 moments of silence before class starts. I see at least one face that I've never seen before, and I get stuck on a few problems. And at least one of my classes goes off on some crazy tangent. Somehow, it hasn't gotten old. Everybody here has experienced these routines, but our school still feels special to me. I think a lot of people in the audience don't really know what our classes are like. Sometimes when I'm talking to my dad about what I did at school that day, I realize how crazy it would be for him to be like a fly on the wall. To see the tennis balls on the bottom of our chairs, our amazing teachers that we call by our first names, and the excitement that everybody has in the room. We all have these little routines like making oatmeal for breakfast or driving down the same roads to school every morning and blasting the same tunes. There are these routines that I think we'll either grow to miss or we will really appreciate that we still have them with us through our impending transition. Routines offer stability and growth amidst constant change. We all have these things that we practice every day that play an important role in shaping who we are and what we have become. When we are entering unknown spaces, routines can indicate our value of perseverance and our commitment to community. Each year, the seasons are reported by the rings on the inside of a tree. We simultaneously grow with the trees on campus. They provide life for the journey between classes and respond to their environment in the same way that we do. Congratulations to the class of 2024. I'm looking forward to all of us continuing our routines, finding new ones as things in our environment continue to grow. Thank you and welcome again.
Good morning, and welcome to the class of 2024. My name is David Feldman, and I'm a 1976 graduate of GFS, as well as the parent of two graduates, class of 2006 and 2010. I'm also the son of a graduate of the class of 1948. I'm here today in my capacity as clerk of the school committee of GFS, in essence, our board of trustees. In that capacity, I want to congratulate, on behalf of the entire school committee, the class of 2024 for all that you have accomplished. Today is a wonderful day, and I hope you feel pride in this incredible moment. I want to extend a special thanks and congratulations to the parents and families of today's graduates. Without your support, your encouragement, sacrifice, and love, none of this would be possible. To our graduates, as you leave GFS and enter a world that endures many challenges, we are confident that you enter that world with a strong foundation, not only to deal with those challenges, but be leaders in how we address them. Rely on your GFS education and the values that underlie that education. They will serve you well as you navigate the world. For now, take time to revel in this moment. The excitement, the joy, and the optimism. Your families are so proud of you, as are your teachers here at GFS. You have accomplished so much during your time here, and so much promise, opportunity, and responsibility lies ahead for you. We encourage you to come back to GFS as often as you can. Tell us your stories as they are written. Be engaged alumni. The open door that is GFS will always be left open for you. On behalf of the entire school committee, I wish you much happiness and success as you move on from GFS. We know you will do many great things. Congratulations.
Better than being there.
The first 13 times I stood in meeting for worship, they all ended in tears. It was all during our 5th grade graduation 7 years ago. Much like what I hope this meeting will be, it was lively and full of people sharing their messages. With it being our lower school graduation, I felt moved to stand up and speak. However, at the same time, a 3rd grader also stood up and started talking. Being the timid, shy, and hesitant person that I am, I yielded to her. Each of the next 12 times I attempted to stand and speak, I also yielded. Eventually, Christy Reardon, the head of the lower school, shook hands with the person next to her to adjourn the meeting. So I didn't get to speak, and I cried as I left that meeting. Now look how the tables have turned. Thank you. Good morning. I'm Peter Ilian, and I'm here to introduce Meeting for Worship. Christy used to bring a jar full of water and sediment to Meeting for Worship. She would say that as one entered meeting, their mind would be like the water, murky and unclear. And as we all sat in the reflective silence, the sediment would settle, and the water would slowly become clearer. Finally, with a clear mind, we could latch on to one singular thought, and it was at that point that if we felt moved to speak, we would stand and share a message. I will confess, I haven't always taken meetings seriously. nor have I engaged in them. In middle school, I often got in trouble for studying for Latin during meetings. As an underclassman in high school, meeting for worship often became remedial sleep session. They were boring, and I couldn't sit still. But once I started engaging, listening to my inner voices and or sharing reflections, I could sit through one. And in fact, I looked forward to it. Meeting for worship became a welcome time for me to sit with myself, a different self. This other voice in my head that eroded away, that was less murky, and eroded away and exposed my truth. I hadn't stood up in a meeting since those first 13 times I failed. Like many of my peers, I'd never actually spoken in a meeting for worship. That is, right around until spring break this year. Aaron Predom, a strong presence on campus, reminded the upper school, in particular the seniors, to take advantage of their opportunity to share their reflections. I felt compelled to stand. Immediately, as I looked around and started speaking with my shaky voice, I realized I had nothing to worry about. At GFS, we're all friends, and no one judges. I shared my message, which some thought went on for far too long. As I sat down, I couldn't tell if I'd blundered socially or delivered the motivational speech of a lifetime. I shared my message. Oh, I already read that. It turned out to be neither, and people didn't really care. Some people found my delivery to be very funny, and because we're all friends, I knew they were laughing with me and not at me. Speaking brought me a small sense of peace and clarity. Speaking allowed me to share what was on my mind. It was an awesome realization that I could do this without having to worry about what people thought. At the next meeting, I stood again and shared how thankful I was to have this space. I found each subsequent meeting to be more and more engaging. I didn't always speak, but I was always reflecting and listening attentively to those who began to speak. Nothing ever physically stopped me from speaking in meetings. I was mechanically capable of standing up, sharing, and maybe sitting down. I was my own obstacle. Once I was able to overcome that mental inhibition, meeting for worship became much more compelling. This is a lesson I started learning in meeting this year, and I found that it applies to almost every aspect of my life. Too many times I've held myself back. Sometimes the key is just to get started. Sometimes we just need to lean in. Sometimes you just need to dive in and find the clear water. So as we begin meeting for worship, a few reminders. During meeting, we all sit in reflective silence. If you feel compelled to speak, please raise your hand and an usher will come to you with a microphone. Please remember to speak slowly and to enunciate. To those listening, please listen deeply and allow for some time for reflections in between messages. We are all here today to celebrate the class sitting behind me. So let's please keep the messages focused on this special class and our collective experiences. I know how proud some of you are, but please refrain from addressing any individual and keep your reflections general and to everyone. My final point is to engage meaningfully because it's worth it. Let us settle down into reflective silence.
So how long did they do this?
Not as long as we sit.
Good morning. The beautiful thing about GFS is you never know exactly how it's going to go. And we love that. Thank you, Jasper, for opening graduation. Thank you, Peter, for opening meeting. A warm welcome to the parents and families and friends of the class of 2024. And I know I speak for all of us in sharing our collective and heartfelt appreciation to the faculty and staff who have guided, taught, and inspired our graduates. I feel like everything's been said, but I'm going to share a little story. It was July 1999, on what was supposed to be a routine airline flight from Las Vegas to New York. I was flying for the first time with my 3-month-old in my arms, and I'll admit I was really nervous. And the plane is ascending, and at about 1,500 feet, an engine burst into flames. Within a few minutes, I heard the 4 words you pray you'll never hear from a flight attendant, let alone a screaming flight attendant: assume the crash position. Well, somehow we landed, and within moments, my baby and I were told to jump off the plane. We were the first, and onto a giant trampoline, and we were whisked away. Terrified. Doesn't seem like a strong enough word to describe that moment. Clearly, I remember every detail like it was yesterday. I'd like you to ask yourself, how hard would it be for you to get back on a plane that day? Well, I can tell you that getting back on a plane that day felt like the hardest thing I would ever have to do. And yes, I got back on the plane, and I have flown often since, and if you've flown with me, you know how that goes. But that day was a defining moment in my life, because that day I became a person who understood to my core that I could do hard things when I'm navigating difficult situations, when I'm not sure how to navigate what's ahead, when I'm faced with unusually difficult situations, when something in the moment feels impossible, or when I am just simply afraid. I can think back to that day and feel confident that I'll be up to the task. I've been building and exercising the muscle to do hard things in the 25 years since, both professionally and personally. This class, the class of 2024, has navigated an unexpected and circuitous path to this moment. Doing hard things defines this class in unique ways. You began your freshman year amidst a terrifying global pandemic, and like that airplane 25 years ago, you experienced a senior year in which, in so many ways, the world seems to be on fire. How do you navigate uncharted paths, prepare for the unexpected, muster the fortitude and courage to act and respond in a manner that reflects your individual character and our united belief in justice, human dignity, and respect for all? I believe our Quaker practices provide all of us the guidance by emphasizing the power of listening and reflecting. So I ask you today to listen, to remember, to reflect on the paths that brought you to this moment, and to take notice of the twists and turns that have led you right here. Consider, for example, all you've accomplished at GFS. You've read great books. You've written moving poetry and prose. You've photographed each other and the world around you. You've documented stories through film. You've created and you created and you created and you sang and you played. You solved mathematical riddles and challenges that most of us can't even imagine to solve. You've produced wonderful shows, demonstrated athletic feats, and you even did what so many of us here have spent years planning. You hosted a wedding, celebrating friendship, your community, and your love and affection for each other. Remember the challenges you have overcome, the joys you have celebrated. Reflect, take notice of what you have discovered and who you have become. And know that what makes a GF education uniquely powerful is that we graduate you, learners, not just workers. That empathy and critical thinking aren't electives here, but embedded in the curriculum and culture. And that the spiritual aspect of your education, inspired by silence and experienced each and every week through silent worship, calls you to wait expectantly, to listen for the light, and to open your mind and heart to hearing and seeing the light in each and every person. We believe you are leaving here with the tools to have difficult conversations, to disagree agreeably, and with a strong core that will enable you to make choices that may not feel easy, to take risks, to try something that might not work, to not stand with the crowd, but to take positions that are yours, really just yours. We know that you are more than ready. And I have to take a commercial here, because there's someone else here who is readying for the next big adventure. And I was reflecting on this during a quite remarkable year-end assembly and meeting for worship. And I was reminded of an esteemed colleague who I hope will remember and take notice of the paths she's created for, as far as I could tell, 2,600 students. She's beloved. She's a GFS icon, and she's leaving after 35 years as an exemplar of teaching. Can we take a moment to recognize our friend, our colleague, our teacher, Jen Nelson?
The privacy thing, they do so Wait, who wasn't standing?
I love having the microphone. Okay, so back to the story. Boarding a plane will always be hard for me. That said, I have learned that when I do hard things, I find valuable and unexpected lessons. A few weeks ago, Luca Capecchi and Peter Ilian asked me to board a plane. Little did they know. You see, Peter is a gifted young pilot, and he and Peter wanted me to experience seeing some of our city and our beautiful, I'm sorry, Peter is not the pilot. Sure. Luca is the gifted pilot. I actually typed that incorrectly, sorry. Where is Luca? You see, Luca is a gifted young pilot, and he and Peter wanted me to experience seeing some of our city and this beautiful GFS campus from 1,700 feet in the air. It was a new experience. I made new friends, and I received a gift. The gift of reframing flight from terrifying to, yes, wait for it, to extraordinary. Thank you, Luca and Peter. I don't think you knew what a gift that trip was for me. So friends, class of 2024, the world that awaits you needs you. Know that you have what it takes to do the hard things that will be demanded of you in the months and years ahead, and that you have built a most special community of friends in this, your class of 2024, who will always be there to remind you of where you come from and all that you have achieved. Everything that has happened brought us to this moment, and everything that will ever be flows forth from here. And this is your life right here, right now. Deuteronomy. Class of 2024, your lives will be filled with many gifts of all kinds. You will love, you will dream, you will do hard things, you will yearn, you will overcome, and you, yes you will fly. Congratulations to the class of 2024.
They're not wearing cap and gowns, are they?
Mm-mm. Go into his Jesus.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ann Hess, and I direct the upper school choir and chorus. While they're setting themselves up, just a few words of context for the piece that we're going to sing for you today. I'm going to read a tiny little bit of the poetry and then contextualize it for you. It's called When the Earth Stands Still. Come listen in the silence of the moment before rain comes down. There's a deep sigh in the quiet of the forest and the tall trees crown. Now hold me. Will you take the time to hold me and embrace the chill? Or miss me? Will you take the time to miss me when the earth stands still? And then from the end, so stay with me, held in my arms like branches of a tree. They'll shelter you for many years. Stay with me seem odd words to choose on a graduation day. But you are all in this room growing and changing and becoming beautiful humans, sheltered by the branches of these trees and these arms and these families and these teachers and this community. Today we are embracing you as we are releasing you. And life will be a series of embraces and releases. So we offer this song from our spring concert to you today, to all the graduating seniors and to all who are gathered here today, chosen by our choir seniors.
In the silence
almost looked like Dash, but I couldn't tell.
Under the heading of be careful what you ask for. To the class of 2024 and the greater GFS community. In a nod to my faith tradition, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be fuel for your light. I have had the distinct pleasure, and let's be honest, the challenge, to be a teacher to most of the senior class. We have worked and played, we have studied and prayed, we have run and yelled. We've sat and listened, we have laughed and splashed, we have cried and crashed. And now we have but a few more minutes to be together and to share our light and bask in the glow of all that you have accomplished. Thank you for this opportunity. Imagine if you could break the world down into two categories. For instance, do you like chocolate or vanilla? Now, like all teachers, I have some rules. Actually, some of my students will tell you I really only have one rule, which is if I ask a question, you must answer it. So, we're going to look at that ice cream question again, shall we? Do you like chocolate or vanilla? Chocolate? Or do you like vanilla? Okay. Apparently I need to try an easier one. Another divider of humanity. Are you right-handed? Or are you left-handed? Are you on Team Ocean or Team Mountains? Who's the ocean person? No. Team Mountains. Let's hear it. One last one. There was an image on the internet a few years ago. I invented the internet. I'm just telling you, I'm that old. No. So do you remember the dress? It was either purple and black or white and gold. I only asked if you remembered the dress. I was very much in the purple and black camp. Everybody else was clearly wrong. In fact, you must be joking, right? I mean, how can you possibly look at literally the exact same image and see the opposite? What surprised me even more was that many people not just were wrong, but they were passionate about their wrong answer. We are often faced with choices. My students know that I can be, shall I say, confident. When faced with a choice, I would like to spend this time and suggest an answer that always works. In my time here, it has occurred to me that our motto, "Behold, I have set before thee an open door," so Exhibit A, on your program, is a bit ubiquitous. I'm sorry, a bit ambiguous. It's also ubiquitous, a bit ambiguous. The door being held open, is it inviting you in or out? Are we suggesting that what's outside is so much brighter and better than what's inside? That when you go forth to a brighter and richer future full of new experiences and accomplishments? Or are we saying that what is here is worth the time inside? That coming into our house will fulfill and enrich you? The divider between inside and outside, the door, is just a necessary passage because of the walls we have built. Without the walls, there would be no need for the door. Now, you might not know this about me, but I've spent a lot of time thinking about walls. As a matter of fact, I'm teaching a course on sheetrocking this summer. Right? Wow. I've even spent time working in construction and am proficient at framing and sheetrocking. I have built houses, warehouses, and factories. I have laid concrete and built stone retaining walls. Every one of those walls had its own purpose. I coached soccer for 20 years and spent many hours riding on buses to faraway matches. And I can remember noticing old stone walls long abandoned in the woods. They marked edges of property or separated pastures now totally reclaimed by the forests. I would always wonder who built them and why. After decades, or in some cases centuries of being ignored, the stone walls cannot carry their job, and they have crumbled, lost, their origin a surprise. Walls, you see, always serve a purpose. And before I go any further, I'm going to do a little piling on here. I want to acknowledge some of the walls on this campus that occupy most of my time. The Wade Science Center was designed with a significant input from Chet Nelson, who after a brilliant career will be leaving behind the Science Center. Its glass exterior walls and birdseed and wheat interior walls are all part of the permanent contribution to the walls that help support and nurture the students that fill our rooms. Jen, thank you for being a colleague, a mentor, and a friend. I appreciate the standards you set and the love and support you offered. The walls of Wade shall always reflect the light long into the future. Overall, recently, walls have gotten a bad rap. You're going to have to stick with this one. It's a long boil. I might put too much on this, but I think the problem stems from the choices made in 2016. I still remember hearing the news and trying to comfort students. We were confused. I spent hours talking to fellow teachers. I didn't understand the choice then, but perhaps now. Maybe it's something the winner said, but I think I get it. The winner wrote, and some of us will stand up to meet you on your crossroads from inside the walls of Red Wing. I am, of course, talking about Bob Dylan and his 2016 Nobel Prize in Literature. You didn't think I was talking about something else, did you? The walls in Dylan's classic song are a metaphor with many possible interpretations, like the walls in Robert Frost's Mending Wall, one of my personal favorites. Quote, "And set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go." The walls define us. They give us our sense of self, our protective instincts, and our inner desires. Our knowledge is within those walls. But the doors are our relationships. Through the doors, we learn, meet new people, and allow ourselves to change and grow. So this begs the question, are we more a measure of our walls or of our doors? Are we closed off or are we open? Luckily, we have Schrodinger's cat, something every physicist relies on. Schrodinger's cat is a metaphor saying that something is the sum of all possible realities. For the cat, it's trapped in a box, there's radioactive elements, and the question is it alive or dead? And the answer, profoundly, is both. Now, I've actually performed experiments, not on cats, with lasers and cryogenically cooled samples that were only possible because Schrodinger's cat is accurate. Reality requires us not just to consider, but to actually include all the possible realities. You can't have one without the other, and yes, the cat is both alive and dead at the same time. Remarkable. Walls derive their strength from the loads they bear. Walls that don't hold up the roof eventually fall. The stone walls in those forgotten woods no longer support a load, they no longer have a purpose, and Robert Frost's friends no longer tend them, so the walls crumble. our load, our best purpose, is providing genuine support. We as a community are strongest when we hold up each other. So if we hold the door open, that's nice. But if we build a wall, we can make a lasting change. Building a wall can actually be an act of kindness. Building a wall offers support. On the opposite side, we have the doors. There have been a few doors that are quite memorable in my life. Some of the students know this first one. The lab I worked in right after graduating college, including a warning light and a buzzer. I was cleared to do top secret work, and I had assembled a very high-powered laser. One day after eating lunch, I came back, I opened the lab door, grabbed my tools, and set about tweaking the laser power supply. Moments after opening the power supply door, I was electrocuted by 60,000 volts. I don't remember much. That's still true. No, I don't remember much. I saw stars, everything literally went purple, and I landed physically across the room with a gash on my back. Somebody had charged the power supply and reshut the door, and they didn't tell me. They had left the power supply door closed, just as I had, but the closed door hid the truth of the waiting charge. It was one of the luckiest days of my life. One group of doors continues to be significant to me, red ones. I was in a fraternity in college, and across the country, all our chapters paint their doors red. I was married in a church with a red door. And St. Luke's, where we have had our assemblies this year, has a red inner door. The history of the red door is as a sign of welcome. From European taverns in the 18th century, underground railroad stops right here in Philly, to Episcopal churches and some fraternities, a red door still means welcome. Another example. For a few years, I had the task of redesigning submarine command structures. The Navy calls doors hatches. The hatch in the hull is actually a very closely guarded secret, but the doors I needed to deal with were the metaphorical ones between the commanders and their data. The flow of information was impeded by institutional walls. I was asked to remove those walls and create doors as well. How could the Navy improve their decisions in the most hostile and tense environments? The naval architecture for decisions was not readily changeable. The walls were substantial. But how could I construct new doors? In the most sophisticated and stressful environment imaginable, how could I improve how an officer makes decisions? Well, to answer that, I needed to consider both the walls and the doors, the structures and the openings. If we want to resonate in our relationships, we need to recognize that there are walls and there are doors. The walls are not inherently at fault, and we shouldn't blame the people and the events in our lives that have led to their construction. And we don't need to tear them down. They are holding up the shelter, the self. However, failure to recognize that there are walls means we can never fully resonate with others in our lives. We can't grow or learn or love if we don't acknowledge those walls. The walls may define us now, but those definitions can and should change. In fact, that's why you're going to college. That's why we have doors to open. We need the doors to define the directions we travel and grow, but ironically, and I can't stress this enough, without walls, there are no doors. Lanny Smoot is a 2024 inductee into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. And he said, quote, "Get your idea out of your head and into the world," end quote. I would say that is only possible by acknowledging the walls and walking through the many doors set before you. So acknowledge your personal walls, embrace yourself, and support others. But recognize every door coming into your life and create many of your own. Opportunities can be missed, friends never made, new subjects never explored, and growth never realized without going through the doors. With doors and walls, there is no choice. It must be both. So, congratulations 2024. You've accomplished a great deal in your time at GFS, but your story has just begun and many choices await. Live your best life by choosing and, not or. Open the doors, pass through these walls, and get going. And when asked about chocolate or vanilla, go for the swirl. Thank you.
Hold on. Okay. Hi, my name is, Hi, my name is Jordan Weber. Good morning, respected faculty, students, honored guests, regular guests. Thank you for taking the time to celebrate with us the class of 2024. I am deeply honored to have the opportunity to be up here today on behalf of my classmates. But before I begin, I'd like to thank everyone who has helped set up today's event. And let's also recognize our teachers and faculty for the hard work they put into our education. While I may not have appreciated the pop quizzes, lengthy essays, I say with all my heart, thank you, teachers, for being here and believing in each one of us. Your Your constant dedication has made going to school all the more worth it. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Okay. 1 second. I also, oh my God, I wasn't supposed to cry. I also want to thank the most important people to me, my mom, auntie, papa, and mommy. Oh my God. Okay. Thank you for believing in me, seeing me, and loving me. I'm sure many of my classmates may be able to relate to the state of constant self-doubt I experienced for the majority of my senior year, doubting my intelligence, my friendships, myself, whether I could even get into college. But I hope now my class is not only able to acknowledge their accomplishments, but provide themselves grace. We also want to welcome Gary's family. I know Gary was a person who shared our class's spirit and drive. The school says GFS is K through life, and for most in this room, our lives haven't even begun. No, not again, okay. But I wanted to say this before I really have my speech. My life began when I met you, Nafisa, Mia, Layla, Margalit, and all of my friends. I believe that soulmates come in the form of friendships as well. And the friendships I've made here, oh my God, I can't see. I believe that soulmates come in the form of friendships as well, and the friendships I've created here have made my heart feel whole. GFS is K through life because this place provides the means for you to find the people who become your everything. Going to high school, I feel you can't truly understand the importance of our friendships or new relationships we create. It's only later on that we're able to see the impact of each person in our community. Still, I can genuinely see how much we have bonded just over our final year at GFS, how welcoming and accepting we are towards each other, regardless of whether your time here began 13 or 4 years ago, 9 months, or anywhere in between. Our grade isn't just a group of individuals, it's a collection of cherished moments. Each year, someone new joins us, bringing their own stories into our community, and these connections and experiences are what truly bind us together, making us more than just classmates, but people engraved into each other's lives. For many of us, these experiences began in kindergarten, where students like myself had the pleasure of being in the best kindergarten, Kindergarten East, and there were also the unfortunate folks of K West. Growing up with the same people for most of your life, there's a sense of comfort that forms in the consistency of their presence. Elementary brought us the excitement of the playground, tackling one another while playing hamsters versus vampires, reading the Warriors and Percy Jackson books, or for those in Jenny Hutcherson's class, getting their first acting gig in the Thanksgiving musical. But by the end of 3rd grade, we all learned it's not about turkeys, it's not even about Thursdays, and it's not about playing ball. We call it Thanksgiving because it's the thanks we are giving. As we transitioned from lower school, the lessons of gratitude and friendship made for our foundation going into middle. Now, I know for many of us, middle school was not a time we want to remember because I know how my class acted, and I know some of them remember how I acted. My sweatshirt, crop top, and high bun combo phase was something I would rather forget. But that comfort in my community that I've grown accustomed to since kindergarten was now expanding because our class size was expanding. 6th grade was all about the camping trip. I remember initially not wanting to go because I hated that I would have to be outside for so long, and then I was nowhere near my bed. So even though we had to hike what felt like 10 miles just to go to Boulder Field, or when some got food poisoning and had to be taken to the hospital because of the dinner we made, or when a mouse visited me in my cabin, it seemed worth it because during that hike, our entire class spent the whole time chatting, and later in the cabins, I looked at the stars with my bunkmates, and in the span of a week, the previously formed cliques seemed to dissipate, and we wanted to be around one another. Let's skip 7th grade. We all know the story of March 2020 and how the rest of our 8th grade was online. That meant no proper 8th grade graduation and an underlying fear for the future. I always say everything happens for a reason. I keep telling myself that when I think back to 8th grade when I did virtual gym class recordings of myself doing push-ups on time lapse or singing into my computer to add an alto in our virtual choir. But those unique and often challenging experiences show us the value in each other. I remember 9th grade was a terrible year for me, and I think for other folks. I don't know if any of y'all, besides the class of 2024, had to take physics or geometry online, but believe me, those classes made my eyes twitch every day. Being virtual due to COVID meant missing out on crucial bonding moments, and I vividly recall those quarantine days feeling utterly isolated from everyone else and overall mentally exhausted. But it brought unexpected growth, because coming back in person, we were ready for SAT and ACT work, taking even more advanced classes, thinking about college, getting our licenses, and just trying to be proper upperclassmen, all crammed into one intense year. In 11th, we found ourselves in the MoMA in New York, and those quiet moments we created while having lunch in Chinatown or in viewing the artistic splendor of the MoMA are etched into our friendships. Junior year, yes, brought stress, but it also brought prom, so I feel like everything balanced out. And then throughout the years, we unknowingly went on a collective journey towards the singular goal, the formation of a tight-knit community bound by shared experiences and mutual support. And in 12th grade, we reached the pinnacle of this goal. Senior year began as a daunting marathon of college applications, keeping up with regular schoolwork. But amongst that chaos, there was no better feeling than the final submission and never having to write another college supplemental again. 12th grade created the means for serene moments of waking up at 5 a.m. to get ready for senior sunrise, stalking one another only to end up running from your own a splash-in, or getting to witness a marriage ceremony firsthand. We're all heading to different places and will soon find ourselves at various points in our lives. Most of us fear leaving behind the shared laughter, the daily interactions with each other, and the support system that's become our norm. It's like as we step into the unknown, there's going to be a piece of ourselves that will be missing. Yet it's this very fear that underscores how much these experiences have meant to us. It's a testament to the strength of our bonds and the significance of the memories we've created. While the future may be intimidating, believe me, I also know it holds the promise of what's new. So thank you, class of 2024, for all the memories that make the goodbyes so hard, but make us stronger along the way. Because the future isn't something we're going to enter, it's something we're going to create, and we have the memories we made here to thank for our readiness. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Matthew Young, Director of the Upper School, and it is my distinct honor this afternoon to award these diplomas to the class of 2024. Isla Grace Albin. Mia Ife Adams. Daya Alan. Samantha Haley Alt. Sorry. Excuse me. Haley Samantha Alt. Cara Moiran Appleberry. Joel Yao Ba. Mackenzie Taryn Beish. Freya Eleanor Busser. Christina Francisca Campos. Joseph Luca Capecchi. Joshua Jose Capiello. Julian Cheho Aldrich Chung. Calder Elias Cook. Leah Francie Cornejo. Rachel J. Cusick. Eleftherios George Dawson. Madeline Genevieve Daniel. George Benjamin Davis Diver. Naomi Gonzalez Dean. Patrick Michael Delaney. Jermaine Edward DeSev IX. Perry Ton Holston Dobrin. Alexander Dorzelewski. Mark Dorozelski. Marguerite Rose Eisenstein. Sasha Catherine Fishelevich. Chloe Chang Min First. Gavi Gilbert Trackman. Addison Mark Goldner. Eliana Rose Greenbaum. Caleb Daniel Hess. Emmanuel Christian Heyer Rivera. Peter Sergevich Ilian.
You see where Jasper is?
He's
Jeffrey Jabor.
White dress and
okay. Now die right behind her. Baby.
Cooper James Jackson. Finian James Jameson.
we're only halfway through.
Elijah Jennings Ames. Lily Cadence Jensen. Tate Julian Jensen. Jonatul Jarna. Juliet Hejong Kang. Leonard August Katowitz. Amanda Lillian Katz. Evan Miles Keene. Madeline Ruth Keenan. Ella Adams Kime. Graham Reed Cohn.
Don't forget it, Cole.
Gabriella Alicia Kramer. Paul Joshua Kresloff. Lucy Jean Kroll. Natalie Beth Law. Yael Trudy Lebovic. Nico Eliel Lempieri. Luke Webster Lendler. Sarah Rebecca Lee. Audrey Simone Ling. Kylie Leah Mahler. Nafisa Medjam Osman Mate. Joshua Leroy Matthews. Angus Wilder McIlvain. Alexandra Marie McNally. Layla Neve McNeil Lozano. Claire Louisa Francisco Meyer.
No, I already got the movie.
Julian Mingary Mills. Mia Alicia Marucci. Jasper Emil Mosley.
Got it.
Jesse Mullins. Madeline Toy Ota. Michelle Sanghyo Park. Avery Jane Peterson. Timothy Radionov. Rebecca Suyen Rasmussen. David Heng Robinson. Nilmani Ziad Shariah Robinson. Theodore Howard Robinson.
Just 100.
Jackson Kiri Rogers. Gabriella Faith Rosenberg. Levi Wolf Rudick. Joseph Ray Giffen Schlesinger. Benjamin Hyunchai Shuta. Chelsea Lane Silver. Matthew P. Smythe. Charlotte Spaniel. Isabel Sheila Spaniel. Hazel Merchant Spear. Tilda Stace. Ezra Joshua Stern. Momoko Takahashi. Wilcox Thomas Tullo. Emerson Angelo Van Cleve. Jordan Catherine Weber. Asha Lamer Wilson. Angela Zhu. Lucy May Yanella. Dean Yao. Friends, I'd like the faculty to please dismiss out here. Will you please join me in congratulating the class of 2024?
They're on the third row.
Walking out.
there.